Hey everyone, how's it going? Tonight I'll be live streaming with my girlfriend. We'll be doing an art stream and we'll be taking any sort of commissions that you throw our way. Any $5 commissions, they'll be sketches, they'll be fine, it's gonna be fun. Link is in the description down below. We'll be on twitch.tv and it'll be real cool. So, hope you can join, hope you all have fun, and I'll see you there. Love y'all. Hey everyone, how's it going? It's me, Goose. How you doing? So, I'm sure you guys have been seeing that I've been live streaming quite a lot lately. I've just been kind of doing like this last minute donation stream so I could get like a little bit of cash before I move to wherever I'm moving to. So that's been fun, except for yesterday. It's been a tragedy, but whatever, don't even mention that. But today I want to talk about YouTube and YouTube's pretty shady, shitty shit that they've been doing. So YouTube has had this long history of just lying to us. And you all know it. You've seen the videos of like YouTube caught lying, YouTube caught doing this, all this scandalous shit, changing their policy so it favors them and not us, etc., etc. You know, that shit always happens. However, this time around, I just want to talk about it myself. I want to actually attack it for myself because yesterday I saw this tweet made by Philip DeFranco, who, you know, all of you know who he is. You know who he is more than you know who I am. Philip DeFranco showed a tweet where there was an interaction between Casey Neistat, a very huge YouTuber, and YouTube itself. And Casey Neistat had this issue where he was talking about the Las Vegas shooting. He stated in his video that he would want to give all the monetization given in that video to the GoFundMe page or whatever funding he needs to give it to. And unfortunately, YouTube demonetized it. And this isn't anything new. We've seen it before. It's been affecting several different channels, and it's been a huge controversial thing. But one of the policies on YouTube's, guidelines says that you can't profit off of tragedies, no matter if you're the news or if you're a huge YouTuber. And I had the same thing happen to me when I made that live stream donating everything towards the fund going towards the Las Vegas victims. I had it just immediately demonetized. Like, I was live streaming the whole thing, but as soon as it processed the video, it was immediately demonetized. But I don't even care. I wasn't even going to monetize it anyways, but whatever. For Casey Neistat, it was way more important though, because he would have given it all to the charity. Unfortunately, YouTube didn't allow that. It's a part of their policy, so whatever. But the thing is, YouTube replied directly to Casey Neistat and said straight up, hey, we love what you're doing, but of course, this is what it says, that's the rules, whatever. And then comes in the Philip DeFranco tweet, which says, hey, you're kind of bullshitting. You've been bullshitting and we're getting tired of it. Thereafter, he shows an example where Jimmy Kimmel does the same thing, where he talks about the Las Vegas incident and there are ads from different, some car company, I don't really care, but there is in fact an ad playing, and it's frustrating, really. It's kind of dickish that YouTube would be this two-faced. Like, we've all suspected it. I mean, let's just straight up be honest. We all know that YouTube favors the TV stars more than they favor us. The big creators of YouTube merit no sort of worth towards YouTube when you got someone like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson or Jimmy Kimmel, integrating YouTube for their whatever thing that they want to promote, whether it be their show or their new movie, or they want to make their own YouTube channel, quote unquote, where they just, post whatever bullshit they want, and YouTube promotes it hard. If you ever go to the trending page, what is it usually comprised of? It's comprised of Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, any other Seth Meyers, any other late night TV show that just likes to upload towards YouTube. And it's so maddening that they would support this, that they would just be so two-faced about it. It's not even that it pisses me off that they're supporting celebrities more than they are supporting their own dudes, the ones that rose their channel, their website up. It's not that. It's the fact that they would look at us directly in our faces and just lie about it. If you want to support creators that are celebrities, like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson or fucking Jimmy Kimmel or whatever celebrities out there that wants to do a YouTube channel, if you want to support them, fine. Say that you're supporting them. Say that you have some exclusive right deal to just play advertisements with them all the time, right? Say that advertisers will always favor celebrities over us, over YouTubers. Say that if you want to, but don't just look at us and just lie about it. It is a distasteful thing. It is an egregious thing that you would just do that. You want to stroke off whatever celebrity wants to make it here on YouTube, whatever celebrity feels like their content would be better if it were on YouTube, fine. You want to stroke them off, you want to kiss their ass, fine, but don't come back to us without brushing your teeth, because we can smell the shit you're spewing. It never works out. The trending tab is always full of garbage. It is some confusing, mystical thing that nobody really knows how to control. Sometimes H3H3 is on the trending tab. Sometimes he's not. Sometimes they make content that is way better than that weird, obscure thing that whatever late night host did that night. You know, sometimes whenever we complain about some YouTuber not being on the trending tab, they suddenly magically appear the next hour or so on the trending tab. It is a weird thing, that trending tab, and the fact that they're just not being honest is tiring, and the future of YouTube has never looked so grim. I mean, the adpocalypse was one thing, but that was, I felt, some scratch on YouTube. It was just a little bit of a battle scar for them. But nowadays, it seems like they're shooting themselves in the foot. They're really trying to be TV. They're trying to be the next, I don't know, HBO or whatever. They're trying to include all of these celebrities a part of their package, the part of their YouTube global domination plan. If you want to do that, like I said, fine. We all know you're being shady. We all know that you're being shitty about it, but be honest. Say that you favor the celebrities. I know you think that we wouldn't take it well, and we wouldn't. But at least you were honest, at least for once in your miserable life. In fact, it's always kind of weird that they said that the Las Vegas thing, that incident, wouldn't get monetized. But then again, if you were on the trending tab that day, just nothing but Las Vegas coverage from everyone except for real YouTubers was on the trending tab. That was just non-stop information. I understand why that is, but how are you going to defend that whole statement of, oh, we don't profit off of that, that's always been our policy, while also having the trending tab full of Jimmy Kimmels and Stephen Colbert's all over talking about the thing, and while also they make money? Do you think they're gonna make that money and give it away to charity? Possibly, but none of them have said so far, and I don't even think they know how the monetization works here on YouTube, so it doesn't even fucking matter. They probably look at their videos and they're like, hey, we're making a good profit. That Las Vegas thing was a good profit as well. Hey, who cares? Whatever, we made money today. Keep crying about Las Vegas, we'll get more money off of it. I mean, I know I'm being very toxic about it, but it's tiring. It's tiring to see YouTube be this way, but whatever, that's my rant for today. Well, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. But man, YouTube's a network now. YouTube is actually just a network. They have PR people. They always have to look good for the celebrities. They always have to look good for those who are interested in integrating their shows over to YouTube. They just want to become a syndicated channel. Let's just say that. It's nasty. But seriously though, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Maybe I'm being too violent about this. Maybe I'm being nonsensical. Maybe I'm just not understanding it. Maybe the algorithm is far more complex than just, hey, I talk about Las Vegas versus Jimmy Kimmel versus talking about Las Vegas. I don't know. Maybe it's a different thing. Maybe I should be more patient. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, and we'll respond to that later. But this is a Q after all, so today I will be taking on your questions right now. Alright, so we're going to be taking on questions. If you guys are curious as to what I do or what exactly Qs are essentially, I take your questions and I answer them here. It's a Q&A, but if you want to send any more questions, just use the hashtag Q on any of my videos and leave your Q down below, or, you know, any other future videos. So let's begin with the first Q, which is from Tevin Banks. Your question was, which online games you've played that makes you the most toxic? So which online games have made me the most toxic? Man, I don't know. Like, okay, I'm not going to be innocent here, right? I know someday all of you are going to find some scandalous footage of me being super toxic in like Dota 2 or some other multiplayer video game where teamwork is a necessity. But Dota 2 definitely makes me terrible. There is something about MOBAs that make me just become a fucking monster. Like, I remember one time, this is a long time ago, this was when I was 16, maybe 17, but I remember I got so mad at someone on League of Legends. They just kept flaming the team, they just kept being like such a Debbie Downer, they just kept fucking bombarding us with all sorts of racial slurs and just like homophobic slurs and all that shit, and I got so sick and tired. I'm not fucking kidding. This is what I did. I looked up his Twitter, I looked up his Facebook, I messaged him on Facebook with an anonymous account, and I harassed the shit out of him for like a day or two on both Twitter and Facebook. I was a fucking mean kid, man. Like, you mess with me, I was gonna be on your ass and beat the shit out of you mentally. And he closed his Twitter down, his Facebook stayed up, but he blocked me. And oh man, I was so fucking pissed at him. I don't know why. It was like a unnecessary piece of shit thing. Dota 2 also makes me like kind of bad, and you know, that kind of shit is excessive. I don't do that anymore. But I'm still pretty bad when it comes to someone who's just being a real cunt, like a real fucking. Oh, I was about to say a terrible word, but it's just being a fucking asshole, like a piece of shit. So I remember there's this guy. I'm still in Dota. So in Dota 2 right now, I'm currently in low priority, and I have not played the game ever since. Like, once you're in low priority, just fucking forget it. Just make a new account. At that point, it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare to get back out of low priority. It's terrible. Honestly, nobody should ever do it. Like, if you have a low, like if you disconnected from a video game, from a match, don't play for a week. Don't play for a week. Seriously, don't even risk it. You might disconnect from another match because of glitches or because your internet's terrible. I'm serious. That's what happened to me. I disconnected twice in a row in 1 week. Just don't play for like 2 weeks. Trust me, it's way better than not playing for like 2 months, which is what I'm currently doing right now. Fuck, I'm never gonna go back to that game as long as I'm in low priority. Fuck that shit. But anyways, there's this guy in low priority that was using his headset, and that's the worst thing about Dota 2 is that you could use a headset, like you can talk via the Dota 2 chat, and he just kept messaging, he just kept like voice chatting us all, and he was like, oh, you know, I used to beat up kids like you. Like, he's a fucking 34-year-old. I can tell he has like a nasally nerdy ass voice, but I can tell he's like 30 or 28 or some shit. He's like, I used to beat up kids like you back in high school, don't fuck with me. Yo, fuck you. So I messaged him and I got him reported, and he got banned off of Steam, so that's cool. But what a fucking dipshit, seriously. But you know, that kind of shit is terrible. It's fucking awful. It's the worst. Dota 2 is the worst, but I love the game so much. It's too bad I can't play it anymore because fuck low priority. Also, just fighting games in general pretty much make me a terrible person. Like, especially, you have to consider the fact that when it comes to fighting games, there's no one to blame but yourself. Seriously, there's no one to blame. Like Dota 2, at least you got 4 other people to blame. Like, oh, this guy didn't carry, or this guy's mid game was fucking dipshit. Like, it was terrible. Like, I never want to play with him again, right? But when it comes to fighting games, it is just you. It is just you. When you fuck up, you fucked up. You can blame it on the internet, I guess. Whatever. But don't be a piece of shit. You know it's not the internet. You know it's just you. Fucking 1v1 him in real life. Fuck off. You'd still lose. It's terrible. But I've never been as toxic on fighting games than I have been on any other MOBA game. But I've actually been pretty friendly, even to people who have beaten me badly in fighting games. Like, I'm friendly about it, and I message them sometimes, and I'm like, what did I do wrong? How come you're so fucking godlike at this character that you use and I abandoned so long ago? What can you do? And sometimes the FGC is so friendly enough that they'll message you back with advice and shit, and it's really rad. But no, Dota 2, that's probably the worst I've ever been. League of Legends, never mind. That's when I was the worst. When I was a little 16-year-old, oh god, that's when I was fucking horrible. But thank you for your question. Next question is by Honeyfox. He asked, have you been watching any series lately? Cartoon, live action, or dare I say it, anime? Alright. And a second smaller question, what is your opinion on Rick and Morty? P.S. Great video as always. Thank you, man. okay, so I don't watch much TV at all. Like I don't currently have a TV service provider, so I don't watch it at all, and I have free internet, so I don't need that. But if I ever do watch series, I watch wrestling, WWE, and like Lucha Underground and all that shit. It was funny because I've never always been a huge fan of wrestling. When I was like a little kid, I always thought, oh, that's fake. I could just watch a movie, or they could just be whatever. Like, there are so many other substitutes to wrestling, right? But the thing about wrestling that's so magical is that it's real stunts live. It is two men performing the greatest live action show ever performed, you know, trying their best to do that. It is really awesome. It's fucking rad. But other than that, other than wrestling, I am a fan of Rick and Morty. I used to be a fan of Adventure Time, but I fell off of that. Regular Show I was also pretty consistent with. But other than that, yeah, I watch cartoons and wrestling, which is like, yeah, you would mistake me for maybe an 8-year-old for doing that. But Rick and Morty, what are my opinions on that? I would say it's a great show, and there you go. That's my opinion. I always thought it was a fascinating show to observe as a writer, because there is definitely a favor over writing than there is over animation. That it's fascinating to watch that show grow as the budget grows, because if you compare season 1 with the latest season, there's just so much color compared to like season 3 with season 1, because season 1 was fine, but there definitely wasn't enough time to make good backgrounds or anything like that. Not to say that the backgrounds were terrible. It's just like you compare it with season 3's animation style and the shit that happens in like that one time where they're stuck in the millennial epoch shit that happens in the black hole. It's great. But there is some sort of stigma against Rick and Morty nowadays. Like, when that show was starting off, it was just that little show that people liked. It was pretty cool. It was rad. You know, it was that show, right? But then season 2 came around and it became this popular thing, like a popular phenomenon. And then season 3 is when it just got blown up. It just, Pickle Rick took over the world by storm. It's just nothing but fucking Pickle Rick, and it's terrible. And that thing really made it into a very popular show. Like, everybody's watching it now. Everybody's talking about it. Even people who weren't originally fans are now starting to watch season 3, and they're like, oh wow, I should really catch up with the show. And they did, and it's weird. It's kind of encapsulating nerd culture now, because it's about science, I guess, in some fucking regard, and just animation and a bunch of like references to movies and comic books and video games and all that shit. It's a funny little thing. But when people say that it's a intellectual show, I don't think so. I just think it's a very well written show. Like, have we been so absent of good written, smartly written animation that we're just suddenly convinced that this is the best written animated show ever made? Like, seriously, this is just, I mean, it's great, but I don't know about like the best thing ever. Maybe the best thing in terms of maybe animation, but even then, I could argue that there are some other shows that came out in the past that are way better written. But even then, the structure is so well done. It's just, I think people are just kind of surprised that a cartoon can be so smartly written. I think that's a good thing, though. I really do think that's a good thing, even though there are those memes out there that are like, oh yeah, there's fucking Rick and Morty people they're all pretentious because they all think it's the greatest show ever, and they all think it's like real science and whatever. You have to understand mathematics. You know, I don't think there are actual people that think that. Maybe there are. Maybe like 1 or 2 people that are like, yeah, I watch Rick and Morty and I'm super smart, but I doubt it. But the fact that it's introducing smart writing to animation is a great thing, because animation has needed an evolution for some time now. Animation has always been either comedy or comedy. Like, I can't even think the last time an action cartoon came out. You're either comedy for kids or comedy for adults. Nowadays, Rick and Morty it breaks the mold. It makes people question if that's the norm. That should be the norm. There are moments where it's a sad show. It's about breakup. It's about losing your loved ones. It's about accepting your fate and all that stuff. But I don't know. There are other cartoons that do exactly the same, and I don't hear people saying that those are great shows, but I guess they don't have Pickle Rick, so I guess that's why they're not that popular. So thank you for your question. All right, and finally, the last question of today's queue is by Henry Conrad. He asked, "Hey Goose, what is your favorite movie?" Or if you have a list of movies, that was my phone. Or if you have a list of movies you love, you can do that too. Also, what movies would you recommend me watching? I don't watch too many movies, so I'm looking to start somewhere. Also, you don't have to answer both questions if you don't want to. Great video as always, and keep up the good work. Hey, thanks a lot. Actually, I was so busy reading the first part of your question that I just blurred through the second part of your question. But you said something about recommending? Oh, okay. So what do I recommend you watching? But first of all, let me tell you my favorite movies. Listen, I don't know if you like old movies. I love old movies. I fucking love them. I love Akira Kurosawa shit, Seven Samurai and all that stuff. But I'm sure you probably don't even want to watch that. That's like shit from the 1940s or whatever. But I guess I could tell you, it's a Mad World is one of my favorite movies ever. It's like my favorite comedy ever. It is so fucking amazing. It is like an epic quest of comedy movies, right? It's this 3-hour long comedy that features all these legendary comedians of the time. It is amazing that they got all of them. It's like having every single comedian you can think of right now that is still alive and having them all in a movie. The good ones, not the terrible ones, like certain ones. But yeah, it's this great epic adventure from California all the way. Wait, I think it was like from Nevada to California. I don't know, but it's a great movie. I watched it with my girlfriend just recently, and boy, oh boy, I love that movie so fucking much. But I probably wouldn't recommend you watching it. Like, the comedy isn't like the comedy today. Today's comedy is way different from back then, and it's so long. I can understand some people getting bored of it. And it's just a thing you watch if you just want to experience what comedy was like, or if you want to experience a bit of cinematic history, It is a great film, and I absolutely love it. Another one of my favorite films, though, is The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, which I feel like is far more accessible to someone, because it's just a spaghetti western. Those old movies are slow. They don't have big bangs going off everywhere. I feel like people are they're suddenly conditioned to love big explosions as much as we make fun of those directors who have giant explosions all over their movies and shit. I know we make fun of them all the time, but guess what? We're so used to it now that when we see an action movie not have one single explosion, we just get kind of bored. I don't know why. That's just the way action is nowadays. But The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is really well done. It's again another epic 3-hour movie, so you're gonna have to deal with it. But I really love that movie. Other than that, I don't know. Fucking, what's a good movie that's not old? Good Will Hunting. I mean, that's from the 90s, I think. Yeah, that's a pretty stellar film right there. Let's see. I don't know. There's like so many movies out there. I can't really list them all off. I watched Breakfast at Tiffany's just the other day. I just wanted to see Mickey Rooney being fucking racist because everybody was talking about it. And I was like, okay, I'll check it out. I didn't like Breakfast at Tiffany's. It's not that great. It's not good at all. I don't know. Maybe it's because of the times of when it was filmed. Maybe it was better that time period than it is now. Again, we're conditioned to love certain things now than we are to enjoy them earlier on when they were being developed, so like sci-fi is so much different now than it is back then, but there is still that charm. Oh, speaking of sci-fi, The Thing. If you're looking for a good horror movie, watch The Thing. Watch Lake Mungo. That's a scary movie with 0 jump scares, but it's kind of slow, so you're just gonna have to deal with it. Man, I love slow movies, it seems. Okay, but The Thing, The Fly, you can check that out. The Blob, those movies are great. If you're into any sort of old-ass movie, like from the 1940s, the Golden Age, check out Dracula or, like, Frankenstein. That shit's rad. Hammer films, any of the Hammer films. They're basically the Dracula... it's basically like Dracula, Frankenstein. They're all being remade to be more gory. I almost said gory. More gory and all that shit. So if you want to check out some classics, check out the Hammer films. That's always good. Nightmare on Elm Street. Just check it all out. Sleepaway Cabin. It's all great. It's all great. Okay. I recommend you watch those horror films that I mentioned. Any of the horror films at all. Lake Mungo especially, because that is an experience that I think a lot of people are just missing nowadays. Like, if you're sick of jump scares, go with Lake Mungo. I'm telling you, I'm gonna review it. I'm telling you, it's gonna be great. Okay. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm sorry, you got me into like a feverish mindset where I needed to think about movies, and I just really got into it. So, but yeah, seriously, check out those movies that I mentioned, any of those at all, unless you're not into that kind of shit. I don't watch newer movies. I think you would need to ask my girlfriend, because she watches newer movies, more movies than I do, in terms of like from the 2010s to now. So I don't know anything about that, but old movies, boy, I got you checked out. I'm telling you, I'll hook you up. All right. But yeah, thanks for your question, man. All right, I guess that was all the cues for today. Again, if you have a question, just do the hashtag Q and leave your question down below. I'll check it out. Or you can, if you have a Q later on in the week and I post a video, you can put it there too. I don't mind. But yeah, thank you all so very much for watching. I'll see you next time. I love y'all. Goodbye.